Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Welcome back. Happy, what is it, Wednesday? Today is
Yeah,
Wednesday, hump day,
hump
right?
day, hump day. Yeah.
Hump day, and here it is. Alex and Anwar here, talk on the old-fashioned show. We got a fun topic. Today is our buy or sell day, so that's always probably the best day of the week. But Alex, always got to start off, man. How are you doing?
Nah, doing great, man. Got a bunch to get to today. Got a busy day ahead. I have to go. Don't have to. I get the pleasure of going to meet my mom and my sister for
Nice.
lunch today. So get out of here.
That's the Mother's Day. That's the Mother's Day lunch, right?
Yeah, kind of a makeup for Mother's Day. Well, yes, my mom had Mother's Day with my sister at a with my other sister at a place that it's just tough for everybody to get to, right? So we were just having ours today, and we'll do that. We'll meet up with my wife and go hang out with my mom. So excited about all that stuff, and also excited for a bunch of buy or sell questions today. Of course, you have the question for me. I don't know what it's about, but I'm guessing based on the thumbnail on War, it has to do with the 2:30 p.m. kickoff that was announced for the season opener. I know that I have questions for you about some sort of news stuff. We have some new win totals that have come out regarding various teams, both for in the Big 12. Also, Tom Brady regrets having his roast on
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, I saw that.
I gotta ask you about that. Some of PGA Tour Championship stuff as well. So a whole lot to get to. Some definite Longhorns talk. You're gonna, but this is
that'd be a short conversation.
it's adjacent to the PGA Tour. So lots to get to today. Lots of Longhorns topics we're going to touch on. So make sure you stick around. Make sure to like the show, subscribe to the channel, and as always, if you have anything you'd like us to talk about, put them in the Specs chat line there, and we will get to them. If you want to send us a super chat, we're certainly happy to put those to the very top of the line. So thanks again to Specs for being a great sponsor. Thanks to everybody for being here. Anwar, you ready for some buy or sell, brother?
Let's do it. So, I mean, Alex, I'm going to start with the question that, and one of the reasons I did this because when I posted this right before our show, or during our show yesterday, I commented a little bit. I checked back. I realized it was like 5 pages deep this morning, over 125 comments on this thing, and I realized sometimes it's about the simplicity, Alex. And really, the conversation that goes into the buy or sell is this, Alex: a 2:30 p.m. kickoff time for Texas versus Colorado State in August is the key word. It's pure insanity. You buy or selling on this?
I think there's a lot of ways to look at this. I want to look at the 2023 schedule and see what time the kickoff was for the.
And I can tell you what the date. I can tell you what the high was. Yes, last year, by the way, because I did look that up for you.
Versus Rice, that was September 2nd. So it's not that. I mean, you say it's August, but it's the same weekend. It just falls on a different day, right? It's just a different. Yeah. It's going to be August. That game's August 31st, I believe, right? Because Sunday's the first.
So, August 31st last year, Alex. The high temperature was 102. Low was 69. I'm sure no one felt that at all. So I know no one even remembers. But on August 31st last year, it was 102. Yes, last year.
And that actually feels like on the light end of how that. I mean, last summer was hell. It was really, really bad with the 100+ days over 100+ consecutive days over 100 degrees. It's enough to make even somebody like me that plans to, live and die, live the rest of my days in the hill country and die here. It even makes me wonder. It's like, man, do I really need to keep doing this? Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like it can get that bad in the summer that it can really make you it can make you question like where you live and the choices that you made in your life to live in a spot like this. And so the 102 doesn't even really seem as bad, but this as well as anybody, where you walk around before these games, you walk down on it's hotter down on the field than it is. I mean, it's hot down there. They have those thermometers that they can use and like measure the surface. What is it? Those surface temperature thermometers. You've seen these things. Like those things measure at 108, 109, 110, stuff like this. They have the cooling fans and stuff down there. Look, man, it's like it's Colorado State's it's going to be more of a disadvantage for them than it is for Texas. Texas at least practices in it. Last year, Rice was at 2:30. You know, it's I don't think it's insane. I mean, our weather here is just insane, right? It's we're getting to around the point around then where that's the part of the year where you're just like you're just coming out of it. You are reading the weather forums. You're hoping that the stuff starts kicking up in the tropics and that the hurricane season starts and maybe we get some some wet weather and all the rest of it. But it's always bad that time of year, and so I don't think it's insane. There's precedent for it, but I maybe an 11 a.m. game would be a little bit better as far as just making fans comfortable and stuff, I would guess. I don't know. Do you think it's
I mean, because it's because there's the fan perspective. Like there's a player perspective, and you expect the players to have to endure the elements. When we're talking about like a fan perspective, and I can tell you that, I know in Orange Bloods, it seems to be at least split as far as people who like the start time and versus people who don't like it. But there seems to be there's a contingent of people that says, and listen, we understand this is TV dictating the terms, right? So there's certain things that can't be said, but there's other people who feel like, dude, 2:30. Me as a fan coming out there and having, trying to tailgate, trying to sit out there in that around 100,000 people, and it's hot as hell. You're on those metal bleachers. And there's a certain amount. Now, granted, South End Zone don't have to worry about that, right? We know those people will be inside, nice AC, getting their beers and their drinks in there. Like they'll sit out there for a little bit in their nice seats, and then they're like, nah, we want to go back inside. But for the other people, there's the contingent of people that's like, man, could we at least have done this at night or something? Now, I don't think it's that much better. Maybe 11 o'clock would have been technically better for some folks. But there is a certain amount of folks that's like, that's pretty damn hot. That's literally middle of the day.
I think Chad Gibson in the chat makes a good point. I don't have the chat pulled up, so I can't bring it up. And I don't know if it would mess up your caption here to do it. But what it says is,
I can pull it up. He's also on the screen too.
Oh yeah, he just says right here, like all the non-conference games should be at night, if for no other reason, so the fans can enjoy the light drone show. Texas paid all that money. If it's true, it's like when are you going to use that thing, right? Like
once a year.
Yeah, you definitely need some night games. I think. I mean, look from a pure selfish perspective, I like the night games. I wouldn't have liked the night game this time because every year during that weekend, I always get away for one weekend and just go out and go hunting. And I take off from doing work. I take off from doing my Sirius XM. But like by then, Anwar, I'll be doing. No, okay. I guess we're doing this show and we'll have podcasts and stuff. But I'm also going to be doing Sirius XM every day and stuff. And so through the month of August. And so that's the one weekend I've always said, dude, I take it off. It's this last weekend before I got to start doing the deep dig. And it's always when Texas plays their first game, and I don't have to do any NFL stuff that upcoming week or that week before, right? So it's like it's the one last weekend I can get out and take a breath. And so for that reason, I would hate that game to be a night game because it would totally mess up my night hunt, right? This 2:30 p.m. stuff is really good for me for that reason. Because you get done by the game at like right around the time that you want to go out to your blind or to your tree stand and sit for prime time. But that being completely out the window, I would prefer them to be at night games. I think that they're better, they're more fun. I think that fans get more drunk and they just they're rowdier and stuff. But I know that it's true, huh? Right? It's true.
No, I'm just Benji is like, yes, Alex. Let's make this around your schedule.
Well, hey, man, come on. There's nothing. There's nothing I like talking about more than me and things that I like, right? But the speaking of Anwar, if it were up to you, there would be no night games. You say they're no fun.
No. Night games have more energy. I think night games have way more energy. I think you have a full day of tailgating that that's people are allowed to do. I like night games. again, there's a work perspective, for work perspective, obviously 11 o'clock game is better for me. But as far as like an environment kind of thing, I think a night game is better. It's interesting because I was thinking back, and this is the tough part about this conversation, right? As far as like the Heat is concerned, I was thinking back to that LSU game that was here a few years ago. I want to say that was 2018 or so.
How am I forget? How am I not remembering that game? To Texas.
That's the Joe Burrow game.
Burrow and them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been 2018.
Yeah, 2018. And anybody who was out there for that game that night, it was hot as hell, dude. Like even in the nighttime, that thing was. I mean, I remember going out there in the suit, and I sweated through it. So there's another part that even if you put it at night, like a 6 o'clock game, I'm not quite sure it's that much cooler at 6 o'clock. I mean, maybe it gets cooler by the time it ends, and your only quote unquote probably feel good thing would be like 11. But I don't know. Like from a fan perspective, though, I get it. If you're one of these people, in your 60s and 70s, and you got to figure out, like, man, am I really going to sit out there in that thing, or do I just need to wait until October till it cools off? Like, some people have to make those choices, right? But I also get, like, television says, hey, it is what it is. It's a 3:30, kickoff on Eastern time, 2:30 for you. So sorry for your loss. Go out there and bring the sweat towel.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm being told in chat that was actually the 20. I thought that was the 20. I thought Burrow was the 2019 draft. Was he 2019 season? Maybe I probably got that.
I thought it was 2018, but maybe it was 2019.
There are like two different people saying 2019. I thought he was 2019 draft. I guess I just mixed it up.
That's possible. I thought for a reason that was the year that the Sugar Bowl season, but maybe I'm getting my years confused.
Yeah, I always get it mixed up because the draft is always the year after the season. So yeah, it's just they're saying 2018 was the Sugar Bowl, 2019, the year before COVID.
All right. I believe him.
Okay. Well, so no, I don't think it's pure insanity. I think do you know what's pure insanity, Anwar? Is like the people in my lineage that came out here and decided they're like, all right, this is where I'm going to settle down with no air conditioning. And I'm they're the ones that were insane, right? I don't think it's insane to have this.
They had to come in the wintertime, right? They had to start building that house and right around like that nice like December-ish or so. They're like, it's kind of nice and cool out here.
Yeah, then in the spring the wildflowers all come up. They're like,
yeah,
look at this, man, a nice meadow, little brook running through it. They get to me like, oh, honey, dang, it's get a little flushed out here. But by July they're clawing at each other's throats, asking what the heck we've done.
Yeah, their hunting in the summer had to be a way different than their hunting in the winter. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's do this one. I'll be interested to hear how you feel about this.
All right.
Buy or sell. Kyle Flood should be more open to using the transfer portal this year.
Are we saying going into the 2024 season, or are we talking about after the 2024
season?
No,
I'm talking about what I'm saying is in this recruiting cycle, 2025 recruiting cycle.
Buy. I think that's an absolute buy for me. I think it's been great that they haven't had to go into the transfer portal. And I do believe in everything Flood's doing as far as the development is concerned. I view him as the most valuable guy on the staff. But I also go into it knowing like, hey, when you start losing guys, you're going to start losing top tier guys. You can risk it and say, okay, I feel like these guys have developed, but if you can find some guys who come in as ready-made products and could potentially compete for a starting position just as a fallback, I would absolutely do that. I think you gave the numbers a little bit yesterday or sometime this week, Alex, on what the depth chart looks like past this season, especially if certain guys go pro. And Yeah, like if you lose a Banks, I think did you say Campbell would be eligible as well? Jake
Yeah.
Majors would be a guy that could go.
No, he will go.
Yeah. Well, I meant
Connor.
pro. I meant pro. I meant drafted is what
Oh,
I mean.
right. But he'll be gone regardless. But like
Yeah, but he'll
like,
be gone. He'll be
yeah.
gone. So we're talking about three, 2 draft picks for sure. DJ Campbell, if he decides that he wants to leave. Christian Jones will be this will be year 3 for him.
Well, no, because you mean
Not Christian Jones.
Cam Williams. Yeah, it'll
Cam
be
Williams.
and I mean, I think it would take just a mega breakout for him to want to leave. But we talked about it yesterday. Maybe there's a 30% chance of it, 30% chance. So it gets tough. And like we talked about yesterday. So are you buying or selling?
I buy it. Oh no, I buy. 100%
Okay, so
buy.
I kind of buy it too. And you have Benji in the chat, and Benji, you can see him over on the side there. Thanks to everybody in the chat, up to 300 of you guys now. If you could please remember to like the show, subscribe to the channel, we'd certainly appreciate it. So let's just say Hayden Connor's gone, Jake Majors is gone, we know Kelvin Banks is gone. Let's say DJ Campbell is gone. So as far as the tackles, you look good. Trevor Gooseby looks good, right? He looks good. Jaden Chapman behind him. Those are the 2 guys out of the 2023 class that at least I thought I'm always going to defer to Coach Flood. And if he wants these super monster guys who can't move like Connor Stroh, Andre Kojo, Peyton Kirkland, more power to him. He's been such a good developer that it's just like, who am I to say anything to this guy, right? It's just, but we've already seen one of them's flamed out, right? Peyton Kirkland's no longer here. Stroh's way down the depth chart. Kojo's already been overtaken from the spot that he was at to start spring football by Brandon Baker, right?
Yeah.
He's been bumped in now, it seems like, to right guard. It's like he's that sort of thirdish right guard, right? Him and Stroh are the kind of 2 guys that are depth at the right guard who you start to think to yourself, okay, Gooseby, Cam Williams, Baker, Jaden Chapman, right? Maybe if Texas gets Michael Fasusi in 2025, all of a sudden, man, you got butt kicking tackles. But you look at the interior, and I wrote about this yesterday about how Jackson Christian kind of fits in. Max Merrill is a redshirt junior. He's never played. Nato Yazumalo, I know you guys are going to want to talk about him being, like, you can't depend on him yet. He has struggled so far. Connor Robertson, you can't depend on him. He's struggled so far at center. Connor Stroh can't really move that well. There needs to be some development from him. We already talked about him and Kojo. Daniel Cruz is coming in at center. There's a guy with some good tape, right? He has tape that reminds me a little bit of the Cole Hudsons of the world. But if you look at Cole Hudson, he'll be a senior next year, and he'll be by far your best interior line option if DJ Campbell leaves. That's pretty weird, right? It's pretty crazy. So can we see development from Kyle Flood to where we see, oh my God, look, this guy's all of a sudden good? Well, yeah, we've seen it from Christian Jones. We've seen it from Jake Majors. So maybe Nato could eventually turn good, right? I just think Cole Hudson, Neto, Daniel Cruz, it feels like you could use a little bit more depth there with guys that are immediately viable. And so I think I buy that, maybe he's never brought in an offensive lineman period since they've been here.
No.
And
hasn't needed to.
Yeah. Benji says Connor Robertson got time in the starting lineup a year ago with injuries. Team still won. Well, that's not true. The team lost.
Well, okay. Damn, Benji. But hey, Alex has got the facts, so the facts are on his side. Let me ask you this one, Alex, because I think we always talk about everything optimistically. But I gotta ask you this. A 9-3 Longhorn football season is just as likely as 11-1. Buy or sell?
Hate to say it, 9-3 is more likely than 11-1. It just is. I got a 9-3 football season is just as likely as 11-1. Do I buy that or sell that? I think that 9-3 is. I think not. That's more likely. So I think I sell because that's not just as likely. Is that right?
Well, I'll give you. So here's the deal. I think the line is like 10.5, right? So technically, they're both it's pretty close.
I know, I know, but it's so
because I think most Texas fans
Yeah, I
pencil
mean-
in 11-1 as like that's the end all. That's what's going to happen. Nobody really entertains 9-3 as an option, though.
can we pull up that schedule again?
Oh, absolutely. Yes,
Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma.
we got that thing right. We got that thing right here.
Okay, Michigan,
I'm gonna take this off.
Georgia, Oklahoma will be easier. But God, man, it just feels like, doesn't it? Okay, so basically, you got Georgia, you got Michigan. Those are two games that you know are going to be tough. If you can split those, you think fans will be happy knowing that they can split those two?
Georgia and Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to come out of those two with one win. Would they take it? I'm not sure that they would. I think if I were betting, if I were a dude betting on this team, I think I would say that they take one out of those two. But then it's just like that. But so let's just take that as a given. That means you run the rest of the table. You run the rest of the table. And it's something where it's like, dude, I just got done doing the stuff we'll talk tomorrow a lot about Jermaine Lole, right? And the new transfer from Louisville. And the reason I'm even bringing him up or invoking his name is because one of the games I watched from him was Louisville versus Kentucky. You realize, man, Kentucky, that team's got players. That's a team that can jump up and bite you, man. Do you know if Barry and Brown is going to be back for those guys next year?
I don't know.
That guy's Texas. Catchy always talked about how Texas could have had that dude. It's just like, man, just really good player. But anyway,
Florida's supposed to be a better team than people
anticipate. You're from Florida. It's like even when they're down, you think they can't jump up and bite you? They got athletes. So it's like, I mean, I know that they lost. I know that they lost some dudes, but I mean, Florida State, Miami, all these schools. It's like even when they're down, they still have athletes. So I hate to say it, but I feel like it would be more. I think the most likely is 10-2. I think that's most likely, right? Split those two, stub your toe at some point in the season. I think the second most likely is 9-3, and the third most likely is 11-1.
I think that's fair. I don't think we talk much about 9-3, and I think we talk about that the happy, good scenarios as relates to this team and things that they run. But asking them to run the table in the SEC in year one, when the things that I don't say we, like I don't. I'm not putting you in this, Alex. I'm not saying like I'm not trying to indict you or things like that. But there are things that, hey, a bunch of new receivers, new tight end. You got some running backs, with some experience, but the D line is questionable, and we got a secondary that you're hoping takes the next step, and you're
a new conference.
Yeah, like there's a lot that's there. And then, like, I think the thing you mentioned about Sark and trying to figure out, hey, some of the tendencies from these SEC coaches, like, he may have known some of the tendencies for Baylor or maybe on Oklahoma State, things like that. But now trying to figure out, like, hey, what are these guys' tendencies? Like, and then getting up for games week in and week out. Like, there are things that if we take off the burnt orange glasses, you can say, like, we can't for sure, cross every, T and dot every I here on 11-1. It's optimistic, but there are ways I can talk myself into 9-3. No one would want to hear it, but there are ways you can talk yourself into it.
Well, listen, you never have to talk yourself into heading into Texas beef traders, ever. It's not something that you need to talk yourself into. It's not something that look. I'm trying to. Why have you not gone to Texas beef traders yet? It's cheaper than the grocery store. It's better meat. It's brought in fresh weekly. The meat is coming directly from Mason, Texas, where it's processed there in facility, hung for 13 days, brought in for your enjoyment. I love the strip steaks. I love the tomahawk steaks. I love the ribeyes. Dude, I love just going in there and talking to Darren and Shay. They'll be like, hey, have you ever had like a bavette steak? Or hey, check this out. We got some beef cheeks today. Try these, man. Like braise them down, make tacos. It truly is an experience like no other. Just dealing with the folks at Texas Beef Traders, where there's no cockamamie vaccines, no inoculations, no weird shots, none of this stuff, man. All non-GMO, grass-fed Angus beef that is delicious. Even the ground beef. Tonight we're gonna have burgers at my house. These burgers are going to taste like they come from a steakhouse because I get it for $4 a pound from Texas Beef Traders. Actually, $3.66 a pound when I use my 10% discount. You can call them. If you can't get into Lakeway, give them a call. Go online. Talk to Darren. Talk to Shay. Make an order, get your discount. It's going to be cheaper than buying beef anywhere else. And when you do, tell them that we sent you to Orange Bloods. You'll get 10% off. And if you can't make it into Lakeway, this is right off of Loman's Crossing, right in the heart of Lakeway. If you can't make it into the shop, come in and have a beer with the guys. That's fine. Call them. They'll just bring it to you. You have no excuses. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Those are my guys. Onward.
Of course. Now to get obviously to one of our guys too, which is Eric Torres, Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Listen, guys, it's that summertime. It's time for you to think about, hey, I'm not ready to buy a house. You know what? Kid's about to graduate next week. You know what? We might want to just go ahead and sell this house and go ahead and get our dream home somewhere else. Eric Sells Homes, DFW, and make sure you're absolutely taken care of. Eric Torres, he's a friend of the family here. He's a great Longhorn fan, but he's got kids everywhere throughout this state. I think he's even got a kid that goes to Oklahoma. Regardless, Eric Sells Homes, DFW. You make sure you check him out. He'll make sure you don't get taken advantage of. Best rates. He's the man with the master plan. Last time, Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Make sure you check him out. Tell him your favorite Unc sent you. Alex, how the hell get rid of this damn thing? There it is. Thank you.
All right. So let's get back into the captions. Do we just get a super chat? If we do, we probably do before the next one.
Is that
Billy Bird? Billy Bird, 199. Thank you for the super chat, brother. 199. My son Michael is a UT grad in just 5 years. Hook him. Oh, well, dude, he got it done. He got it done a little bit quicker than me. I went 5.5. So man, he's on the fast track there, Billy.
Congratulations, Billy. I guess this past weekend, you must have been in the stadium at DKR celebrating with all the other grads. So congratulations to Michael. What's he doing in life? How's he going to go ahead and use all that money that you spent on that UT?
Yeah, I was just saying, how do you have $1.99 left after 5 years at UT? Man?
That's all he has left. That's all he has left, okay. Alex.
Let's see here. We're gonna go to my next buyer. It is mine, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, dude, I accidentally looked at yours because I was just looking for the name. You and I have the exact same question for one of them, or close. My question. My question will show you what my answer to yours is here because I'm now looking at yours. We'll go to a different one. We'll get to that one in a second. I really want to hear yours on this one.
Okay.
The Mount Rushmore of the 2024 Longhorns would be Quinn Ewers, Kelvin Banks, Anthony Hill, and
Malik Muhammad.
that was my first guess. I was going to say that
Malik
too.
Muhammad would be on Malik Muhammad. Would be the guy that I feel like is going to end up on as the last guy. I want to say Derek Williams, but I think Malik Muhammad is probably my safer guess. I think he's going to be the standout in the secondary. Again, I got to go back to Sark saying, when this guy was in high school, he was a future first-round pick. And so because of that, I feel really good. I think it was Malik. I don't think it was Derek Williams. I think it was Malik. But yeah, I feel really good about where this guy is. And so Malik is the guy for me.
I like that. I was going to kind of say it. Darwin Lemon in the chat is saying that he would have Jonte Cook. We have Benji with the super chat. Thank you, Benji. We appreciate it, brother. He's saying that Connor Robertson is greater than Tommy. And so he's talking about Tommy Brockermeyer and his runt brother, Alex.
Oh, golly.
We look down on Portal OL here in Austin. Hook 'em. Dude, Benji, I get it. And thank you so much for the
shots fired.
Thank you so much for the super chat. One of the best offensive linemen that Texas has had since I've been doing this was a transfer portal guy out of I guess not transfer portal, but JUCO transfer. Donald Hawkins, D-Hawk, still a favorite alumni around here. So you can't look down your nose at all of them. But I do agree that when you have a developer like Kyle Flood in town that's as good as he is at developing these players, you might just take a different approach and say, look, let him mold the clay. Whatever he puts out there when in its final form, once it goes in, what's that thing the kids put it in on war after they do the clay? They put it in the urn or something like that, and they glaze it, and that's when the clay turns into an actual pot. Don't you remember?
Oh yeah, what's the thing called? I forget. I know exactly what you're talking about too.
It might be an urn, or maybe that's where you put ashes of dead people. I forgot what that was, but whenever he gets done with the final product of the clay is what I mean. It's like, it always looks really nice. And so maybe he doesn't need the portal. He really is an awesome coach.
All right. Let's see if this is the one that you thought was going to be similar to yours, but buy or sell, professional basketball athletes could play in the NFL.
Man, was this the one that who was it that said this?
Austin Rivers.
Is that Doc Rivers?
He said that he felt like Doc Rivers said. Now I toned it down because he said he felt like there was 30 NBA players who could play in the NFL, which got everybody going crazy. I didn't want to say 30 for you because I know you would get caught up on the number 30. So that I'm just going to go professional basketball athletes. You think they're professional basketball athletes that could play in the NFL?
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about, like, not all of them. Like, I don't think as awesome as like, and I don't know all these guys names, but I don't think. I'm not sure somebody like, I think somebody like Jokic or something would just be too tall, or like Wemby would probably be too weak and stuff. But yeah, just some of the, you think back about, like a younger LeBron James, that he could easily be a great tight end in the league, right? He's the kind of athlete that could have done that. Trying to think of some of the who are some of the really good power forwards right now, the really athletic power forwards.
Zion Williamson considered a power forward. I don't know what.
I always thought he was more. I thought he was more of like a 5. I'm not sure. I don't know about basketball, man. You don't need to ask me about. I'm trying to think. Is just some of the dudes who, But I mean, the main kind of archetype I think about would be them always saying that LeBron certainly he was a guy that could have played tight end in the NFL for sure. So yeah, I think that they could play in the NFL. I'm not sure. I don't think that it's an automatic prerequisite though. Just because you play in the NBA means you can play in the NFL. Something like that would be absurd, right? I think there are NBA dudes who could certainly play.
I mean, here's a question though. This is where I think it's interesting. You think there's any guys from the NFL? You think NFL athletes could actually play in the NBA? The vice versa of it?
NFL that could play in the NBA? Yeah. Mike Evans.
You think so? Because I think you think, well, Mike potential. I think it's harder.
Mike Evans would, right? But Mike Evans, if he wasn't so good at football, he would have gone down a path to eventually be NBA. He was like one of the best players that the Galveston Ball had ever seen in basketball. And I think that there are other stories like that we just don't know about. There's got to be some on where, I mean, these are the best athletes in the world. They play both sports. I mean, these guys are just sick athletes, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know if NBA players, if you've ever had I've had a few opportunities where I've played against NBA players.
God.
And sometimes just college players, their skill level is so sick. And anybody, people, it's funny because they clown like Austin Rivers, and they're like, oh well, he was average 9 points a game. So Austin Rivers would kill 90 something percent of people that he played not one-on-one. Like anybody who looks at an NBA guy and thinks that guy isn't good, they're crazy, Alex. These guys have a skill level that's out of this world. Their range is out of this world. People like you and I, they would kill, would even be funny. So it'd be interesting. Anyway, it's been a debate. It's been people that have been talking about it and stuff like that. I just wanted to get your opinion on that one.
All right. So I like playing in the PGA Tour Championship, like the games and stuff like that. And there's actually this one contest that I think an Orange Bloods listener, whatever, from the channel sent me before. It's a fun game. It's like $20 entries, and you pick like 3 players and stuff. And if one gets cut, you have a substitute. Right. If you guys want to email me, alex@rosterwatch.com, if you'd like to join that thing, I'll forward you the link. It's fun. I'd like to have more players in it. But here's the question. The PGA Tour Championship is this weekend. John Daly will be the last major sport athlete that smokes cigarettes while competing.
Oh.
Because I saw a video of him warming up, dude, and just blasting those yard darts, dude. I mean, going big at the going big at the driving range.
Actually, I'm going to sell on that one, Alex. I'm going to sell on this. Because I saw a clip. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter, because Twitter will be less likely to hold on. I want to show you something. So see if I can. If I find it on YouTube, I'm probably going to get a bit. I saw a thing of a boxer smoking a cigarette right before a fight, literally like in the ring, and then knocked out a guy. So and I wish like I said, I wish I knew this beforehand. So I'm going to sell, because as soon as if I can find it, and I know everybody else has seen it. Like I said, I see the YouTube videos on it. I just cannot find. I cannot find it. So I'm going to sell on it. I'm going to sell on this because I just saw it done just a couple of weeks ago.
Cigarettes will remain live.
No, he was smoking. I think he was smoking like weed, though.
Okay. Well, blasting some kind of product, right? Okay.
Yes. All right. Maybe speaking of, all right, Alex, I asked you this. I want to see what it is, and I said, if you place $100 3-team parlay wager and had a chance to win 1.7 million, you'd cash out at the 80,000. And here's the backstory of this. There's a guy by the name of Wayne Shelton who placed a $100 bet last year. He picked, and here's his parlay for a champions. He picked OKC, the Texas Rangers, and the Kansas City Chiefs to win their respective championships. He had, it looks like, plus 1,143,000 odds with a 50% boost. Mm-hmm. Now, he already won 2 of them, Alex. And he's already sitting at, not 80,000. Now, he could have kept going to see what OKC did, but he said there was times where, depending what happened in the OKC-KC series, it would go up or down. Right. And he finally decided, you know what, I've had enough. I'm not going to go for the 1.7. Just give me my 80,000. I'm walking away. You would do it.
I almost always chop. Almost always. Have you ever gotten to a championship with me in fantasy football? If you have, you'll get a call from me saying, let's chop. This thing's too top heavy. I don't want, once you get to the end here, we've done a lot of work to get to the end here. You never know what's going to happen in any one given week. Let's make it chop, right? Let's do it. I couldn't believe it last year in my oh man, I forget what it is. The the super contest, right? The $1,500 buy-in super contest that I do oh man, what's the big casino over there where they have stadium swim?
Like
Circa.
MGM
Yeah,
or what do you?
Circa. The Circa Millions over there.
Okay.
That that thing last year, it was not the Circa Millions, but they have the Circa Survivor pool, and it got down to like 19 dudes left or whatever, and you know they there was just one dude that wouldn't chop, and if they chopped, they would have each gotten, I forget what it was, 130K, something like this. But this one dude wouldn't chop. He's like, no, I want the shot at the whole, $5 million. And I'm just like, you kidding me, man? There's one dude that wrecked this for everybody. I'm always going to chop in those spots. I don't know anything about OKC or the Thunder or whatever, but I made a bet that some cock made me parlay. How much was the original bet?
$100.
Like I turned 100 into 80K, dude. Dude, give me the 80K. I'm not going to sit around sweating OKC, even if they were the favorites to win. But it doesn't even seem like they're the favorites to win, right? They're just now starting to be good again, right? They had a turnaround where they were bad for a while. Now they're kind of good again. So I can't analyze their chances to win the rest of this series. But no, man, give me the 80K for sure. I'm always going to chop. I'm always going to chop.
All right. I would get out while the getting's good. 80K is more than I started with, so I hit it.
So this one is kind of like the one that you were going to ask me. And the Green Lantern is right in the chat. Hit that like button, folks. We would certainly appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Well over 400 of you guys in the chat right now. We thank you guys for that. So this tells you how I'm going to answer your question on one.
Okay.
Xavier Worthy Chiefs will have twice the receiving yards of Adonai Mitchell Colts this season.
Twice the receiving yards. Twice the receiving yards. Wow. I mean, that means Adonai Mitchell is not much of a factor at all, because I'm not expecting Xavier to drop like 1,000 this year. So I would imagine his numbers are going to be a little conservative. What's a good, like a 600-ish or so.
I don't know, man.
Set maybe 800 would be good. Like 1,000, 1,200. I mean, that means Adonai is really just a role player that does nothing. I don't know if that happens as a second round pick, though. I'm going to sell on that one. I don't know. Twice is the number that kind of hangs me up. Like the twice is where I'm a little bit stuck on. What's the number? What's the projection on Xavier this season? Have you seen anything on DraftKings or anything?
Yeah, I haven't seen it on DraftKings, but I did see something on Caesars or something like that. That was, I think he was at 850.
Okay, yeah. So then that means I'm projecting Adonai to be at like 4-ish or so. No, I'd have to sell on that one. I think he'll have more of an impact than that. I don't know if they'll be neck and neck. I think Xavier will make some big plays, and that'll definitely help his numbers. Yeah, but I'll sell on that. What's a hell of a question, though?
It's just, for me, I'm not sure I buy, but it's not an easy sell. I'm pretty worried about Adonai Mitchell, just from a statistical standpoint, just because he has Pittman to worry about, he has Josh Dobbs to worry about, and the most important thing is you have a guy in Anthony Richardson who we've only seen 2 games out. Dude, he's been an awesome fantasy quarterback, right? Each game, he's going for at least 50 yards rushing. Each game, he scored at least 1 touchdown. He's had multiple touchdowns in one of the games as well. But only 2 full games we've seen out of that guy. And just his number of pure dropbacks is just puny. It really is not good. I'm not sure that there's going to be volume to go, because Reggie Wayne, the wide receivers coach there, and of course Reggie Wayne, who's Reggie Wayne. Right. Josh Downs was his favorite player in the draft last year. They want to get him more involved. Clearly, Michael Pittman's the number one. And for just a low volume passing attack, I think about that versus the dude who's the fastest player in the history of the combine, who is facing target competition from who exactly, especially if Rashee Rice ends up getting 8-game suspension because of this second incident that he's had. It's from who? Kelsey? Who's the target competition? So, Justin Watson and stuff. You know, I mean, I know that they did bring in Marquise Brown, but he's on a 1-year deal. He's older. I don't think if he does really well this year, they're incentivized to get the ball to Xavier Worthy over Hollywood in those situations. I would think, because if Hollywood does have a big year in this 1-year rental, he's going to come back next year with his handout saying he wants 13, 14 million. Whereas Xavier Worthy says, I'm still on a rookie contract. So, I don't think I probably would sell this, but I think 80 might have a down year. In early redraft leagues, he's going right now at about 110 overall. So what we're talking 11th round, no, it's early 10th round, and I think he could kind of fall from there a little bit as people think about this stuff.
All right, Alex, here's my question for you. Krause Springs is actually better than Barton Springs.
Krause Springs. Let me look at a photo here. I'm just trying to see if it's back up now or not. Is it back up again?
Krause?
Yeah. The water level.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at some recent photos.
I think this should be okay. I think this should be okay.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're. So for people who don't know, Krause Springs, if you know where Opie's is in Spicewood, and where the general store is and the post office, I forget what the name of that road is, but you take that road back, and it's like this kind of. It's kind of like Blue Hole or one of these. It isn't as big as, like, say, Hamilton Pool, but it's one of these things where you kind of have the cypress trees kind of coming over the top, and there's rope swings and stuff like that. It's a really cool spot, man. Nice, cool water. But man, Barton Springs is a trip. I mean, Barton Springs is a trip, dude. It's really awesome. It's so big, even when it's really crowded, you can find space to hang out and swim. Diving, it's got a diving board. It's got better options for buying snacks. So,
Krause is if you want to avoid a crowd of people, Krause is definitely a better option than that.
Yes, but if there is a giant crowd, you're not going to find your way into the pool, right? If there's a giant crowd, you're not going to find your way in. At least at Barton Springs, there's going to be a giant crowd, but you're going to have room to operate with you and your family, or you and your friends.
I will say this about Krause, though. I'm going to say this in Krause. There are a lot of women that go topless there.
Is that true? Okay, well, I didn't know that.
There are women who go topless there,
dude, and it is. It really is. It really is beautiful. But it's still. I mean, I think it's still Barton Springs. If you would ask me about Barton Springs versus Hamilton Pool, I think I would have said Hamilton Pool. Krause Springs just isn't quite as big. Dude, it's all awesome. We live in that's why people stopped here to settle. It's stuff like that, right? It wasn't good for the heat. I mean, there's all kinds of awesome.
I'm sure they were like, who are those women at Krause Springs with no tops on? Hey, we need to build our house right down the street.
I teased this. I teased this one earlier, so I figure I gotta ask it before we get out, because I'm not sure how many more we'll each get. Tom Brady says he regrets having his roast on Netflix. That's what was trending today on X. Yeah. Okay, you would like to have your friends give you a roast?
Sell.
Okay.
Sell. First of all, I have levels of friends. And so I have friends who are surface level, and then I have like my inner circle of people who actually know things about me. And so there's probably only like 2 people who are in this life that actually know every dirty detail. So I don't think they would do it. But outside of that, I don't think I just want to sit around and have people roast me and make fun of me for an hour. Like,
I don't understand how anybody ever signs up for this on more. I just be like, the whole thing about, like, why are you bringing up old stuff? It's like, that's
exactly. I got too many past relationships for people to burn me on, and like I'm good on that. Like I want to get my, they always say give someone their flowers while they're alive. Like that's what I want my flowers. Like I don't want you to put me in my grave. So
yeah,
nah,
we're in the same.
I'm good.
We're in the same page.
Okay. How about this? And Catch is in the comments, so I'm going to clear to see what he thinks on this one. Buy or sell? Steve Sarkeesian has a burner account on Orange Bloods.
Do you know he's this? Since I've been here covering this team, the coaches. So I've covered 4 coaches, right? Mac, Charlie, Herman, and Sark. I think he's the second least likely of those 4 to have one. Right. The least likely was clearly Charlie Strong. Right. He had people on his staff, I'm sure, that monitor it. I have a hard time believing that Charlie Strong would have had a login and a password and stuff like that to go check his Orange Bloods.
Charlie was on OB.
Oh, if Charlie wasn't, then Sark absolutely is. Right? Yes. If Charlie was, the Mr. Social Media is going to kill everything. I don't want to be connected to any of this stuff. Sark is at least a little bit more a little bit more modern with the way that he engages with the internet and stuff like that. So I would say of 2 guys who I would think would generally at least put off the vibe of having disdain for this type of enterprise, right? Sark's at least he's more modern and might understand that it could be viable to him to have the information that's posted there. So I'll say, what does Catch say? Did he say buy or sell?
Catch bought on that one. It's interesting to me. You know why? Because Sark, I don't know if Sark really enjoys his media obligations. I don't think Sark views that as this is my gateway to talk to people or to fans or things to that effect. So it's interesting because I don't know if Sark, like here's my question. If someone came to him, Sark, and said like, hey, you don't have to speak on Mondays or Thursdays anymore, you think he would say, yeah, okay, no problem? Or you think he would say, no, I think that's important?
Oh, he'd say, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think. So I don't know. I don't know if he. It's interesting because
that doesn't. But that's different, right? Because that's saying like this is this thing off my plate where I don't got to walk up from practice and I got to talk to these idiots and I got like he sees it as just a drain on his time. He's like these people. Like I'm here to coach football. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's thinking. He's like this whole thing. It feels like a charade. It takes away from my time, away from stuff I would want to do. Whereas if you were to go to Orange Bloods, he would. It feels like there's a little more use there. It's like at least you're like drawing information from somebody else. It's not like you're sitting up there having the information drawn out of you. So I have a hard time connecting those 2 things, just to the fact that I think he would gladly give up his media responsibilities. I think that that's different from saying would he seek out independent information about his team. I kind of think that that's more likely.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. I'll be honest with you. On most other coaches, I would buy. It's interesting. Like, Catch is saying like, "Hey, I promise you, Venables is on OB." Maybe it's possible. I remember, I remember when I think I told you a story. Shane Beamer, the South Carolina coach, used to be at Oklahoma. And I ran into him just a couple of years ago, and he told me that he really nice, and he told me like he felt. I asked him a question, and he was like, hey, and it was like it was at the media days, I think the one in Atlanta a couple of years ago, and I asked him a question, and he's like, hey, good to see you here, Anwar. And he said like, followed your stuff when you at Orange Bloods. I'm glad to see you here, so on and so forth. And then he answered the question. I was like, oh shit! I didn't even know he followed me when he was at Oklahoma. So that's why I would probably buy on the Catch is saying. The Sark thing, I don't know. Catch. We'd have to have the conversation. I don't know.
Do you want to? Oh, wait, did I ask that one or did you ask that one?
I did ask that one.
Do you want to get one more?
Yeah, let's get one
Or
more.
you wanna
One
get
more.
out?
We ain't
All
got
right,
nowhere
so
to be.
here, this is just a quick one, kind of see where you are on this. Okay, so you would sign up, you and your family, to eat free for 1 year, but every meal is prepared especially for each person by the UT Athletics Performance Nutrition staff, with no exceptions.
Bye.
You would. So you would take free
Yeah.
food, but there's
Mm-hmm.
no exceptions. You can't go to Thundercloud. You can't go, you know what I'm saying? Like every
Yeah.
single meal is something that they look at you and they're like, Anwar, we really think that your BMI is getting a little bit high. We're going to restrict you to 1,500 calories per day this week, and you have to eat this flaxseed, yogurt stuff and all the rest, and you have to eat it.
Hell yeah. I mean, you're saying I don't have to worry about cooking or going to the grocery
Those
store.
are things you don't have to worry about. The only thing you have to worry about is the fact that what's presented to you, it's being presented by the UT Athletics Performance Nutrition staff, right? So it's going to be stuff that is scientifically probably really good for you, and they're looking at your body, they're monitoring you. It's almost like having a doctor kind of monitor for you for a year as far as your nutrition and your
Sounds
diet.
great to me.
But it's not just you; it's your kids. They're
Yeah.
doing the same thing, and you can't
Single
deviate
dad.
from it. Period.
I'm a single dad, Alex. What are you saying? Like, are you telling me that my kids actually I can get them away from Chick-fil-A, which they love, and some of these other places, and I don't have to worry about cooking and all these things provided, like some Hello Fresh or whatever that is. Yeah, kids eat the crackers, man. Kids, what do they want?
You're basically saying, like, please, UT Athletic Performance Nutrition staff, call me. Like, I'll pay you for this. Right?
Have you ever eaten at the University of Texas Club, Alex?
Is that the one that's owned by Club Corp, or is that the one
That's the one that's in the stadium, and like you go in off the side of the stadium, and then you go up the elevator, and then they have that.
I wish I would have done it more, because my weight room and my gym and stuff, the club there, it was with the same club, but now they're with Invited and they're not with Club Corp anymore. Now it's been completely busted off. But yes, I've been up there before. I didn't know it was someplace that I could have gone more often.
You can buy a membership to it. You can just buy a membership. It's a social club. You can just buy a membership to it. University of Texas Club. I say the way I've gone there. Food is excellent. Love it. And you know what? We should do it. I'll tell you off air, but I've eaten there and I've loved the food. And then on certain days they have social events. They bring out a good prime rib. Like they've got tons of great food there. I'm down with the UT food stuff. So 100%. I buy on that one.
All right, man. We're up against it. What do you say? Anything you want to say to the folks before we get out of here?
Oh, man. Hey, great show. Don't forget House Divided coming up at noon today. So check out and see what Catch and, of course, Chad Hastings have got in store. I'm sure it's going to be something fun for you guys. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. And remember what I always say, if there's 500 of you guys in here, by the way, I definitely hope there are 500 likes. Live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. Alex?
Now, email me, alex@rosterwatch.com, if you want to get in on that. Get that golf, the golf game this weekend. It's always fun. I've done it for the last couple of years. The guy's trustworthy. So it's alex@rosterwatch.com. If you have any questions or comments about the show, you can also DM Anwar or I on X, or you can get me at that email. Thank you so much to everybody for being here today. Again, House Divided coming up a little bit later. The recruiting show after that. We'll be back tomorrow for this show, for the modcast, all of it. Things keep rolling right here on Orange Bloods Live. For Anwar, I'm Alex. Go do something big today, man. We'll see you tomorrow on